February 21, 2024. Any additions or corrections to the minutes as distributed? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Is there a second?
A second.
Further discussion? All in favor, give their consent by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered. And sorry, I skipped over public comment. Anybody here for public comment? All right, financial report.
Your cash position sheet is attached. You'll see on the agenda, general fund balances are $203,000, and the CDBG balances currently are $434,374, all in stabilization, which I will discuss further in the action items.
All right, any questions? All right, action items, reallocation of previously mentioned CDBG funds.
Yeah, so if you recall on our previous agendas, we always had different amounts of money in stabilization, demolition, and acquisition. Because we now have, which is a later item on the agenda, we have a blight grant from ARPA funding for acquisition of blighted properties. We rolled this acquisition money up into stabilization. The stabilization money covers our lawn mowing, snow removal, any kind of stabilization or, vandalism or trash removal, things like that. Similarly with demolition, we had also rolled that money up because we have a great relationship with the land bank, and we have no properties to demolish right now. So it made sense to roll that all up into stabilization. However, recently there have been some properties we've seen, and even maybe some of these blighted properties later in our agenda, that may need demolition, and it would make sense to have some demolition funds set aside, because every time we shift this money requires a vote of city council. So it would make sense, we can't just shift it internally. So if we do need demolition money, my suggestion is to earmark $50,000 that's currently in the stabilization, to bring it down into the demolition of $50,000 so that it's there and available. We don't have to hurry and try to rush something through council for it to be shifted. And if we get low on the 400, or which would come down to 380, then we could roll it back up. We would have time. But to be able to have money available in demolition for anything that might come up would be advantageous to us.
Any questions of staff? Hearing none, is there a motion to request that the Bureau of Housing Services reallocate $50,000 back to demolition allocation of CDBG funding so they may be used for any demolition needs?
I'll motion.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Use of vacant lot.
I was approached by Cornerstone Baptist Church, who is actually using Logos Academy as their church, and they would like to have a community outreach event on July 27th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. They had asked Logos to use the vacant lots on the corner at Newberry and Princess, and Logos rightfully said, those aren't ours, you'll have to get permission from the RDA. So I'm seeking a motion to approve the request for them to do that from 9 to 3, provided they sign a liability waiver and they provide insurance, the RDA as additional insured.
Are we invited?
Sure, yeah, I think you could probably show up. Okay. It's a community, you're the community outreach, you're the community.
All right, any questions?
Who is the minister of Cornerstone Baptist?
I believe it's Pastor Kearse.
That's what I thought.
That is correct. Any further questions? All right, is there a motion to approve the request from Cornerstone Baptist Church of 250 West King Street to use the vacant lots at Newberry and Princess Streets for a community outreach event on July 27th from 9 to 3, pending the receipt of a signed liability waiver, naming the RDA as additional insured on coverage? Man, that seemed like a long motion.
So made.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Authorization to execute. That doesn't sound good. Especially when my name's right after that.
Yes, we're going to execute Michael Black. This is We had previously passed a motion, I think it was, I don't know, was it in the February's minutes? We had passed a motion to sell a temporary right-of-way for the College Avenue Bridge replacement. And
It was in February, yeah.
the Commonwealth has come back and they are requesting the language that we have that is in the second page of your agenda. This is language they provided that is an authorization, a resolution of authorization for Michael Black, who is authorized and empowered to execute documents. So they provided this language, I filled it in with our information, and then I have to provide this to them so that we can actually then execute the documents for the temporary easement and right-of-way for $8,400.
All right, questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to authorize Michael Black, RDA Chairman, to execute documents as needed for the previously discussed College Avenue Bridge replacement? Will be a payment to the RDA of $8,400 for right-of-way, $2,600 of that, and temporary easement, $5,800. Do we have such a motion?
A motion.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Another authorization to execute.
This is, in 2023, Bill number 53 by City Council allocated $550,000 to the RDA. As we've discussed in the past, this is the blight funding. And I had emailed you all the document. Don has reviewed the sub-grantee agreement, all 40-some pages in its glory. And this, I just wanted to have a resolution to authorizing the execution of it.
Okay, questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to authorize Chairman or Executive Director to execute sub-grantee agreement with the City of York as developed by its ARPA consultants, answer advisory for the receipt of $550,000 for funding of blighted property?
So made.
And I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor, give their consent by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Ratification of purchase.
Yeah, this was done via email vote recently, and I just wanted to get it in the minutes, authorizing the purchase of parcels 46 and 45 on South Penn Street, which happened last Friday.
Yes, and we did previously vote on this electronically, correct?
Yes.
All right, is there a motion to ratify the authorization to purchase parcels 09-230-050046 and 09-230-050045 located at 224, 226, and 228 South Penn Street for $170,000?
I have a motion.
I will second the motion, but I'd love, I was gonna say, are you bringing it up?
I can.
I'd love to look at this is the one right across the street from all those parcels we already own, right?
Correct.
It fronts on Penn, yeah, in front of Hope Garden.
So this is the Hope Garden lot and the Green Street lots that are under option. And then this is the property is actually, this red roof, this flat roof, and all of this land that runs all the way out to the alley.
And it's actually about a third of the size of the Hope Garden, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All in favor, give it a consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Redevelopment agreement.
This is sorry, let me pull up the property here. This is 175 Lincoln Street. A little bit of a complicated story on this one. The city had blighted 177 Lincoln Street. That property owner came in, which is this, sorry, 177 is the property here on the right with the air conditioner. That property owner is working on his property now. There was a fire in this building. This is not an accurate picture. This is from 2021. There was a fire in January of '22 that burned out the back half of this building, the upper floors, and part of this gentleman's roof. He is currently working on repairing that roof and asked, what about 175? Our codes officials started working with the property owner here at 175 and issued an order of demolition to demolish this property. They purchased the property as is for $10,000 and have no money to demolish it. So we simultaneously approached them with an opportunity to sign it over to the RDA in lieu of following through with their demolition, that the RDA would handle it. And this owner next door is very interested in acquiring it from the RDA under a redevelopment agreement so that he can stabilize it, demolish it, stabilize it, get a structural engineer, support it, so at least he could rebuild, try to keep the facade and rebuild the back portions of it. So it turned out to be what was becoming a very complicated situation, turned out, I think, to be a win-win. Well, what we will do in the redevelopment agreement is give him 30 days to stabilize it or demolish it, or work with a structural engineer to get plans drawn up to rebuild it and get all the codes approvals. And then give him a year to complete that work, at which time he would then buy the property from the RDA.
The purchase price would be?
$3,000.
And do we know, is Mr. Ramos qualified and has the funding to do the work?
He is, yeah. I haven't had him fill out a full application yet, and all the pertinent details that we collect with the redevelopment agreement. But he has been doing very good progress on this property, and I did a little bit of research on him, and he seems like a competent property owner. And his plans are, he called me back yesterday. His plans are to, he's working on converting 177 right now into a 2-unit, or it was a 2-unit. I guess it was a 2-unit. He's fixing it up, and he would like to make 175 also a 2-unit as well. The same floor plan that would match. He'd have 2 side-by-side mirror of each other.
And he's the occupant of 177?
No, he lives up in Manchester.
Okay. And he's, I'm sorry, what was it? He's converting from single family back to 2-unit, did you say?
He will, yes, on 175.
Did you say he was doing that on 177
It
also?
already is a 2-unit. In this
Okay.
picture, there's 2 mailboxes.
All right, any further questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to authorize staff to enter into a redevelopment agreement for the stabilization or demolition and potential rebuilding of 175 Lincoln Street, which was recently conveyed to the RDA, with Kenneth Ramos of 177 Lincoln Street?
I'll motion.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, give it a consent by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Blight designations.
I will invite Monty to come up and talk about some of the blighted properties. Monty is our city zoning officer and blight coordinator. And I have all of the information he provided to me here in PDF form. And we can go down and through each one of these properties to be certified as blighted. So the first one up is 144 East Philadelphia Street. And I'll switch Monty to your pictures here. And we had developed a blight intake form that Monty has filled out for all of us to talk about, verify that it was in front of Blight Task Force and whether or not the property had appealed the blight designation or not, and verify ownership, taxes unpaid, and everything like that, so that he's prepared now to kind of walk us through each one of these properties.
Okay, how you doing today? 144 East Philadelphia Street. It was originally owned by Donald Calaire. The property caught fire in 2020. The current owner that bought it off of Mr. Calaire is Pedro Santana. He actually purchased the property 3/24/2021. He owes $171.22 in taxes for the current year, 2024. Blight Task Force met 2/6/2024 to come up with the criteria that this house met. Notice was sent out 2/15/2024. Owner recipient letter. Okay, yeah, we sent the same day I went and posted at the property at 2/15/2024. We sent the owner regular certified mail. Both letters came back. Owner did not appeal for the Consolidated Board of Appeals. He has few violations that happened over the years. The first one in 16, accumulation of garbage. It was a PMC letter mailed out. It was corrected. Same thing, 10/25/16. It was condemned, unfit. It was a PMC letter, went out. They corrected everything. 2023, they received another PMC letter for high grass and weeds and accumulation of garbage in the tree well in front of the property. The property went in front of the planning committee 4/8/2024. They certified it as blight, unanimous vote. VPRC committee review, that was done 3/19/2024. The meeting was posted. Yeah, they did certify the blighted, and it was a unanimous vote on that. So far with this property, everything we sent out, we're getting no information back, no call back or nothing about this. The owner is just absent, so we took it through the necessary steps to get it here.
And this is the roofless structure zooming in on here?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, picture's worth 1,000 words here.
Is there anything in, like, inside? There's just like shells without a roof?
Yeah, it's basically just a shell of a building.
Probably a garden on the second floor.
Probably.
Probably.
Is that just that one roof that's missing, or is it multiple units?
Yeah, well, it's just this. When the fire happened, this property owner at 142 completely rebuilt and sprinklered and did a really nice job and ended up selling this for a really good price. I don't know anything about 146 adjacent to it, but it looks like that's also been repaired and rehabbed pretty well. It's essentially down to just the condition of this one in the middle.
That's a real improvement. That was really a bad situation for a long time. I didn't realize all of them except one had been fixed up.
In fact, right after I had started 5 years ago, this property had an oriel window on the front, just like these, and it was falling off, and the city actually hired a demolition contractor to come in and tear it off. And at the time, we worked with Mr. Colaire, who I think ended up paying for that. Then he stopped paying his taxes, and Mr. Santana bought it at tax sale.
And it's such that, I mean, we can't even demo.
Well,
haven't
this
seen
is
one.
this is another one of these that I really struggle with. This whole row of 4 townhomes is a Dempwolf design. And you see the intertwining of the brick between it's actually a 45-degree turn with really nice architectural features on the front. I don't know how demolition would happen on the front. I would personally be very opposed to even trying to demolish that. I think it needs to be rebuilt from the inside, unfortunately.
And is that even cost effective?
No, and that's why it's sitting there like it is.
Is this a scenario where we might just end up keeping the facade and
That
whatever else down?
that could potentially work as well. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of effort to get this one into productive use. It's a tough one.
All right, did you have anything further on that one, Monty?
No, I do not.
Any questions? All right.
Don, do we want to do these one by one, or do we want to do them as a block?
Did you have anything to add on the other properties listed?
Oh, yes, I got a lot of stuff.
Okay, go ahead, we can go to 455 South George.
Okay, 455 South George. The owner is Mabel G. and Walter Hunter. They purchased the property 8/3 of 1983. Okay, the last date of occupancy was unknown. The property is vacant now. We took it through Blight Task Force in 2/6/2024. mailed the notices out 2/15/2024, and I posted at the property. Both letters came back. Owner did not appeal the notice to go to the Consolidated Boards of Appeal. Doesn't have too many violations from the PMC standpoint. They had NIO warning in 2022 for snow removal, and 7/18/2022 was condemned unsafe exterior sanitation, and they received no response from the owner. Planning Commission date was 4/8/2024. They certified it as blight, unanimous vote. Went to VPRC 3/19/2024. They approved it unanimously again. As current date, 2024, 4/15/2024, they still owe $696.22. Reached out to a lady, called about this property, and she said the owner is in a nursing home or a rehab place. Because of his old age, they got lawyers looking over his stuff. Reached out to them, didn't hear anything back, so we just took it through the process.
And what did you say about the occupancy? Is there anybody?
There's nobody living there.
So the cross street is Maple Street there?
Yes, sir.
So I'm not 100% sure of this, but I could check with my mother, who would be. I believe that's the mother, like the Plymouth Rock of Maple Donuts, this building. I think it's where the original location was, where they sold their donuts.
Wow, never knew that.
I'm sure that's searchable somewhere, yeah. And we do own land. If you could show the lots behind, we do own part of the grass lot behind this building also, just FYI.
So if we were able to confirm that, we should contact Maple Donuts, see if we can get them to get involved in the rehabilitation of the prop. What? Don't laugh.
It's up for tax sale, I noticed. They haven't paid taxes for 2 years. Mrs. Mabel Hunter's deceased, she's been dead
Yes.
for about 10 years. And Walter has been in the nursing home for a good couple, 3 years. So it's not a big surprise.
Yes, it is this property here in the red, and then the RDA does own all of these lots directly behind it. And these 4 or 5 houses were recently demolished by Crispus Attucks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they are rebuilding with 3 brand-new homes here. Just as context for the neighborhood.
Any further questions or comments on 455 South George? All right, 590 Salem Avenue.
Okay, 590 Salem Avenue. This one is a tricky one. The guys actually tried to say he lived there, but we've been doing a lot of stakeouts, you might as well say. Never seen anybody come to the property. Meters are not on or anything. Owner is Daniel Weinbrum. Purchased it 5/18/1995. Date unknown, last occupancy is unknown. Property is vacant. We verified that. We took it to the Blight Task Force 2/6/2024. Notice letter was sent out 2/15/2024. Both certified mail and regular came back. Owner did not appeal anything. The violations I found on the property from 10/13/2022, NIO issue for $25 for high grass and weeds. Ticket got paid. Then in 7/20/2023, violation notice for high grass and weeds again on the outside. It was corrected. Went through a planning commission meeting 4/8/2024. They certified it blighted. Unanimous vote. VPRC, same thing. 3/19/2024. They all say yes, unanimous vote. Reached out numerous times to the owner, haven't received anything back, and it's just, property is just keep going down. It's just in very bad shape.
And the meter's not advancing at all.
No, it isn't.
All right, any questions? All right, 312 West Jackson.
Okay, property's owned by Todd Ritchie Case. He purchased it in November 18th, 1991. We went to the Blight Task Force, 2/6/2024. Notices were sent out 2/15/2024. Received certified, came back 3/11/2024. Owner did not appeal the notice or anything. Taxes owed on the property current year 2024 is $881.38. The house is starting to become a very bad nuisance because people keep breaking in. It's not boarded up right. The city actually spent money and time to go board it up. And I think the last time that we was in there, actually the whole inside of the property is badly damaged from squatters getting in there, just making a mess, and it's in the college area. So we're really trying to do something with this, and the owner is not cooperating.
All right, questions? All right, 343 South Sherman.
Okay, 343 South Sherman is co-owned by Leroy Murray and Valerie Jo Alegua. I don't really know how to say that. They purchased the house 4/22/21. Last known occupancy is unknown. Property is vacant. Took it through the Blight Task Force 2/6/2024. Sent the notices out 2/15/2024. Mailed both certified and regular. They did not come back. Owner did not appeal the notice. Currently, they own $780.25 on taxes. I remember when I first, when Blanda sent me the address and everything, I went out to the property and they was actually gutting the house. But what they did was they took everything from out front and put everything in the yard. So now the yard is terrible. Nobody's been back to do anything. Neighbors are complaining, and we just
So those
decided-
pictures are the current state of the yard with all the junk in the back?
Yes, sir.
Cute house.
All right, 421, 423 West Hope.
Okay, this one here is just a grass lot. This is owned by American Hepatitis Association. I believe we already taken their other property through the Blight Task Force of, 420 West Princess Street. So since we already put that through, they decided to, well, let's go ahead and get the grass lot behind the house. Let me see. Where's the paper at? Like I said, the owner was American Hepatitis Association. They currently owe $86.63 in taxes for 2024. We took it through the Blight Task Force 2/6/2024. Notices were sent out 2015/2024. Both letters came back. No appeal. 4/8/2024 is when it went through planning commission meeting. Unanimous vote yes to certify blight. Vacant property review board 3/19/2024, same thing, they all say yes. Reached out to the people, haven't heard anything back, but they said they do have a man in the alley that's supposed to maintain this property, but he is not doing it.
This is also adjacent to the Hope Garden lot. All right. Anything further to add, Monty, on any of these?
No, sir.
And Don, can we do these as a slate?
Sure.
All right, is there a motion to, what are we motioning, to acquire these properties at,
It's a dual motion. It's a motion to certify that all was blighted and authorize staff to file eminent domain.
can that be one motion?
Yep.
Can we, or is there a motion to, I'm sorry, please say that again, Don?
Certify all properties as blighted and authorize staff to proceed with eminent domain.
All right, is there a motion for that on 144 East Philadelphia 455 South George, 590 Salem Avenue, 312 West Jackson Street, 343 South Sherman Street, and 421, 423 West Hope Avenue.
So made.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor, give their consent by saying aye. Aye? Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you.
Thanks, Melanie.
Staff reports.
Yeah, just a few brief project updates. 110 West Cottage, and I'm trying to pull this up right now. Don, can you elaborate a little bit on 110 while I pull this up? Sorry.
This is a vacant lot that's had grass and weeds problems for quite some time. There is a shed deep into the lot, which is not in good shape, but it's mostly grass and weeds.
Sure.
And it's
I
a
love
pretty
it.
established neighborhood. So we filed them in a domain, we were authorized to do so, and the property owner who bought the property from tax sale for $1,100 has gone to a local lawyer who called me and said, it's not blighted. And I said, well, you know, what makes you say that? And he said, well, the grass needs to be cut, but other than that, I think it's okay. Well, he doesn't make the decision. So, knowing there's a neighbor that would like the property, I said, well, you know, what's your guy gonna do with it? Because he bought it 3 years ago. He says, well, he's gonna build a house on it. I said, he's a little slow in building a house on it. I've offered him like $2,500, and he's talking to his client. I'm actually gonna talk to him tomorrow. There is a problem with it, I think, because the criteria that was used to blight it has been superseded by a new statute, and I think we were probably going to lose it, so I think we need to bail on it quickly and to avoid lots of stuff. But if we can get it for $5,000, maybe the neighbor will pay that.
Correct.
So that's the status of that.
Thank you, Don.
The lawyer he's going to is one 90-year-old Gilbert Malone.
On 630 South Pine Street, as you recall, plumber Steve Buffington, not city Steve Buffington, is redeveloping this project in the Simon Camera building. He has done a great job so far. He has 2 apartments on the west end over actually it's this building is part of the complex. And he's developed, I was going to say, how current's this picture? Because it looks like it's, because he painted them. And it's done a really good job. The rest of the property, has received approval from zoning hearing board to create 12 apartments per floor. 12 on the first floor and 12 on the second floor, which would give 24 units in this building and create maybe a laundry center or amenity space for the residents. He is contemplating right now whether he moves forward with that as approved, or he has an offer to potentially partner with another user who would use this first floor for storage space, warehousing space, and potentially create a little convenience store out here on the corner, and then still do the 12 apartments up top. So he is right now contemplating his best approach for that project. We're in more than daily communication with him. He constantly keeps me in the loop on what's going on and what he's thinking about doing. But I just wanted to add this to the list of this is soon to be a real success project after sitting here vacant for as long as it had. I think the RDA has owned this for 10 or 12 years. We finally had someone step up and is doing a good job so far. Admittedly, he is one of these guys who will not fix up the outside of the building until the inside is done. So if you drive by there today, it continues to look like this. But the inside looks 1,000% better. You could not walk in it before because the roof had collapsed so much. And he's installed a whole brand-new roof on the entirety of the building. So that's moving along very nicely. On the Northwest Triangle, Dawn and I have been working on one paragraph, a few sentences left in their redevelopment agreement. I think we have a winner. I think we've finally gone back and forth, and that negotiation was the concern that the developer had if local legislation changed and would affect his project. If the zoning changed or something changed different than what he's contemplating to build there, or what his ability to renegotiate and what he can do to solve that problem. So I think we have language where we will work together to figure out his problems and understand them and negotiate any terms that we may need to. The simple solution is for him to just start building it all, but this first phase is $30 million. So this will be, every year for the next 4, 5, 6 years until he's complete with the project. Total guess on my part. So we're very close to that, and if you were at the downtown update this morning, you heard them say a fall groundbreaking. I think they're only a couple of weeks away from submitting their building plans to the city for review. So that's really exciting. 139 new units and 20,000 square feet of retail space. The other one is Densply. We've been working pretty heavy on Densply lately with environmental testing, utility mapping. We actually had a contractor came out with ground penetrating radar to try to locate all the underground utilities. That's all covered under the environmental assessment grant, the industrial sites reuse program. And they have located a 15,000 gallon oil tank and a 5,000 gallon oil tank. Unknown yet if they've been grouted shut or if there are any contaminants or issues with them yet. That's a week or 2 or 3 away from getting out there and drilling holes to see if there's any contamination near the tanks. But we did identify those. And the developer again also spoke at the downtown update this morning. They are continuing to evolve and develop their floor plans and their uses for the rest of the campus. But they're coming along nicely from what I've seen so far.
Are those tanks definitely going to have to come out, or do they need to, is it pending the tests?
I don't know, to be honest. I think it's either, there are times that I've seen where you can, the tanks have been certified as closed in place, and DEP will accept that. I think it depends on what the soil tests come out around the outside. And we just haven't found the documentation yet that they were closed in place or not.
And then you fill them with concrete slurry. They call it filling them in place.
Right. The other option is, and of course, we will be applying, it's on my calendar for tomorrow to work on the remediation phase of the ISRP grant, now that we know a little bit more information, what they would need to do for remediation. So the state is expecting that grant to come from us any second now, and I'm preparing it. So that'll be another, that's up to $1 million for remediation money. On Penn Market, we are at 65% design drawings, and we anticipate being at 90% by the beginning of August. We continue to look at the costs. We are obviously over budget, as I've said in the past. We've got about $2.8 to $3 million, about $2.6 million allocated for construction costs out of the RACP grant and the ARPA money. And right now, our cost estimate came through at 5.5, so we've got about a $2.5 million shortfall of funding right now. There is another RACP grant pending, and we're working with the architects on the right word is segregating some areas of construction rather than doing a full build. If, for example, the community room, we can frame that up but not finish it on the inside, not condition it, not do the ceiling, but at least block it off, and then potentially find a sponsor who would sponsor the finishing of that. It could be the UPMC community room or something like that, or the Michael Black community room, and then we can have
That kind of
donors.
money.
We can have donors step up and sponsor portions of the building. So we are working very diligently, and little tiny details like where the ductwork runs for the hood vents. The architect had them going down the building and up, and that was an 80-foot run. And we directed them to put them and shove them out the side of the wall, which is a 12-foot run. So we just saved, a couple 100 feet of pipe at a couple $100 a foot. So it's little things like that where we're really down in the trenches trying to figure it out. We will have an expense coming up. We're going to hire a contractor to camera all of the underground pipes. Right now, all the sewer laterals run under the slab. And my experience from Central Market, when we did that, we cambered the pipes and there was no bottom. It was literally, they were old cast iron or terracotta sewer pipes from the 1800s that have just washed away. So that will be a pretty good impact on our pricing, whether we have to dig that all up and replace all the sewer lines, or if we can use them and tap into them, or if we go overhead and pump everything. So there's a couple different options there that we're exploring right now. Yeah.
What do the current market tenants, what think of the most recent renderings?
They're excited.
There's been a lot of changes in our renderings over the years.
Yeah, it's been actually the last meeting we had with them. I was pleasantly surprised with their feedback. Buchart Horn, who's our architect, has partnered with Hugh Boyd, and Hugh Boyd is a nationally known market architect. If such an animal exists, it is Hugh, and he's done markets in Detroit and Oregon and Manhattan, and he's kind of like the go-to national market guy, and he gets it, and he's absolutely fabulous. He's been up to the market a couple of times on Saturdays, on Tuesdays. He's looked at the foot traffic, and he's sat and met with every single vendor and helped them figure out where their stand will be in the future. Because there's a lot of nuances to things like that, especially when it comes to market vendors. Little things like how close are you to the door for your customers, if they have elderly customers, who the stand is next to you, how busy they are, how quiet they are. And he's done a really good job of mapping out very precise locations of where the vendors are. And all the feedback we got so far, they're just really happy, just anxious.
And no vendors are being displaced.
No,
Everybody has,
there's a spot for everybody. Absolutely. And even, in fact, the perfect example, the Hayes is a store out on Market Street. Our future plans always showed that to become a restaurant, and we could shift the restaurant to the front, so we have a Market Street restaurant with outdoor seating and visibility. And the vendor who leases the Hayes store really prefers to have a store, so we're actually taking and adding a store on the Penn Street side so that he can have his 7-day-a-week store continuously operating like he does now, rather than being in market proper. So that we are really paying attention to every vendor's kind of hopes and dreams to make sure that everything's laid out right for them. It's been a very challenging but exciting process, working with all the vendors. It's been good. The Fresh Food Revolving Loan Fund, this is, some of you may not recall this. This was established back in about 2003 or 2004 by the city. The City of York Economic Development Department established the Fresh Food Revolving Loan Fund in partnership with the RDA. It was funded with about $120,000 of USDA grant money from the federal government to serve as a revolving loan fund. And it operated for a while. It stopped just about the time I started here in whatever that was, 5 years, or 5 years ago. And then with the COVID money, we haven't had a lot of demand for projects because there were grants available. And recently was contacted by 2 or 3 small business owners who were asking about the Fresh Food Fund. And so Chairman Black and I have reestablished the committee of members, which are 2 RDA members, myself, and 2 bankers who would review the application. And this entire process is loans that are managed and overseen by People's Bank. They're our local banking partner for this. So they do all the intake, they do all the underwriting, they do all of the analysis on the applicants. And we provide, right now we have $95,000 in a money market account that serves as collateral for the loans. So this is for food vendors in the city of York that don't have or aren't necessarily bankable because they don't have the collateral. We provide that collateral for them. I think we still may have 1 active, maybe 2 active loans with Fig and Barrel and Handsome Cab were the last 2 that were done. So we're excited that this is going to be rolling out again and available to the small businesses.
And we helped Liquid Hero go into their initial building with this Fresh Food Fund loan.
Oh, was it really?
Back in the day, yeah, just one of the success stories we had with this loan fund.
Yeah, it's a good program. The city ARPA Affordable Veterans Rental Housing Grant, as you're aware, the RDA applied for this. We just received notice yesterday that we were not selected as the chosen recipient of the funding. We're hoping that the city might reconsider that, but we're hopeful that there's still an opportunity to participate in that project. And the Commonwealth Blight Remediation Grant, there's an outstanding invoice for $110,000. And I actually just this morning received a wire that we actually received. So your financial reports are off by $90,000 because we just this morning got the first reimbursement on the blight grant of $90,000. So that was very good.
Off by $90,000 to the good of us.
Yes, $90,571 was wired into our account this morning. That is a $280,000 grant, so there's still money to be reimbursed. It's a reimbursement grant, so this covered the acquisition and some of the work that we've been having done to 308 South George and 116 Lafayette. So we're going to rebuild those, not completely rebuild, but they stabilize those properties using this blight money from the state, and then provide an open house opportunity for someone to purchase those 2 properties.
All right, I think that's it. I don't have anything to report. Other than, obviously, we have a lot of things going on here. And thanks to Blanda for your efforts as a staff of 1, managing all this and keeping things going. Yes.
I have a public comment question.
Sure.
Dylan Bauer, 29 South Duke Street. I'm just curious, 228 South Penn, the RDA has never bought market rate properties. Is there, I mean, I don't know. It's the first time I've ever heard of it. If someone's looking on, it's a $170,000 purchase, which according to the internet was sold on May 3rd. So that was 2 weeks ago. And it was purchased for $91,000 in 2018. It doesn't look great. There's not a lot of funds at the RDA, so I'm just wondering why the RDA is buying market rate properties.
It was a strategic move. It's adjacent to the Hope Street Garden. We feel the property will pay for itself.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the house is almost turnkey. We will rent that out. That will be self-sustaining. And we added, as I said earlier, about 1/3 of the acreage to what we have at Hope Street Garden. So it was a strategic move.
Yeah, it's just 1 house, but it goes the whole length of the block, so at least.
Yeah, I've seen the listing.
There's a lot of green space.
Okay, it must be a new strategy. It's just never seen that happen before. So thanks for answering my question.
Anything else for the good of the order? All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Now for our after meeting.
So he thinks we overpaid.
Well, it'll pay for itself.